So today we're going to practice on Kolb model, a great experiential learning model. You know that this session is experiential, so we will ask you once again before the breakout rooms if you're ready, but it's very important that you engage till the end with your peer, because you're going to be in the same breakout rooms when we will practice after the presentation of the model, okay? Let's go. You're ready, Han and Nicola? It's okay?
Yes, we're ready.
Okay, we're ready.
For the trip.
Share my screen. We are going to do cross presentations. You have here some of the details of Anne's profile as an EMCC global volunteer. But more than that, what could I say about Anne? Anne lives in Burgundy, which is a specific region of France, with very good wine. Her practice is mainly focused on executive coaching, supervision, and also training as co-leader of the CSA supervisor training program in France. What else? She works with France and different other countries in the world. She previously worked 5 years in London and also in Singapore. And she's passionate about Gestalt, about leadership embodiment, and resilience through movement. That's what I wanted to share with you about Han.
Thank you, Catherine. I like it. And what could I say about you? That you are a highly experienced professional and that you are very generous because you've been committed to EMCC as a volunteer since 2015, first in France and then at a global level. What can I say? That in terms of your reference tools, you've got the inner dialogue, ORSC, I know, and that's something that you really enjoy is walking, and that therefore you offer supervision, walking supervision, and that you like walking in life, you know, in general. You're based in the north of France, close to the Belgian border, if I remember well. Yeah. And if I may, you've got a passion for tiny houses.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
So thank you. And we also have Nicola in the team.
Nicola was a mentor, a coach, an EMCC global communication expert. And she practices, I think, as an executive coach in United Kingdom. Is that it, Nicola?
And yes, I do. Yeah. I do. Yeah. And I love tiny houses as well, but I haven't got one, but I like spending time in them.
Yeah. And you're the director of communication at NB
Yes.
Yeah. And
to be here. And your Zoomer for today.
Yeah. And you're our precious partner at EMCC Global for organizing and communicating about our main events. So thank you so much, Nicola.
Thank you so much.
So let's go further. The genesis of the project, in a few words, you will find more details for those of you who want to have really the explanation of what reflection and reflexivity is. You have the recordings of the previous sessions on EMCC Global website, so do not hesitate to have a look and experiment the different models we already recorded with the EMCC Global. But the genesis of this is, all this came from our volunteer role, Anne and I, as assessors and mentors for the 5-day challenge for accreditation, for individual accreditation at EMCC Global. And what we shared with our peers, mentors and assessors was that of course, the reflection and reflexivity is at the core of the accreditation journey. This is really a positive, fascinating, motivating process. And what we observed is that we speak a lot about that, but few coaches and mentors master what it means. And then we decided to propose to EMCC Global approximately 2 years ago now to create a series of webinars enabling people to practice. So this is practice. Errors are welcome in simplicity, in parity, and we are there to make you discover the joy of reflection. And yeah.
And if I may, there are no errors. There are just experiences, as a Gestaltist, I would say. We're here to practice and we're learning from our experience. That's really the purpose and the spirit of what we're offering.
So the purpose.
Yeah, so as you said, Catherine, really what we want to offer is a workshop, a safe place where we can practice and learn together on different models. And you'll see on the links that Nicolas shared in the chat that we've had many others, other models, other possibilities, and that every other webinar we've got a guest, a special guest.
Yeah.
So next time we'll have Felicia Lowe from Singapore.
Yeah. So what's in it for you? It's for you who are engaged, who are going to be engaged in the accreditation journey, but not only. Wherever you are, if you want to practice reflection and reflexivity, that's the good place to be. So welcome. And as Anne said, this is a program of bi-monthly webinar. And alternatively, we propose well-known models like today with the Kolb model, and the time after, we propose a model with a very special guest. We had Karen Prentice and Elaine Patterson, we had Claire Beckett, and we also had Sam McNeil last time. So that's the formula. Here you have the planning of 2024, and we are there at the 6th session, and you can see what we had before, and you can find the recordings. And the surprise this morning is to share with you the planning for 2025 for the first semester. And as you see, we'll have Felicia Lowe in January. We'll have Wendy Ann Smith in May about ethics, reflection about ethics. And we'll have Dr. Ian McCormick in June with a specific approach. And in March, we will work on the 7-eyed reflection model. That's the planning for the first semester.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
reflective and
reflexive. What are we talking about?
So it's true that what we found out as facilitators on the 5-day challenge or in global assessing the application is that very often it's not clear. So we want to clarify it. The first step is the reflective approach, and it's very much something that all of us, we do easily. It's how we understand the situation with a helicopter view at 360 degrees. And that's something usually people are very good at, I say. And it's not enough.
And it's not enough, because after that, there is the reflexive part of it. And there you have to challenge yourself about your beliefs, your presentations, your habits, and how you're going to learn from your experience, and how you're going to adjust your practice from the learning outcomes you get from this reflection and reflexivity. And another point which is very important is that you can consider the reflexive approach on a timeline. You can have reflexivity on action, which means after having experienced something, but you can also reflect for action, which means for the future, for the next sessions that you have with your clients. And you can also reflect in action live. So this time consideration is also very interesting.
Yeah, and if we take as an example very quickly, understanding self, this competence, which is the first one in the EMCC model, within the 8 main criteria. If we look at it and use the reflective and reflexive approach, if we think of as understanding self, in terms of reflective practice, it's really how I am self-conscious, how I am conscious of my clients, and how I understand the context of the coaching as such. So that's really the first step, my awareness of who I am in relationship to the other, and the other, if I can have empathy, as well as understanding how it works. And what is behind that is how I understand the values, because we are driven by our values, whether they are our personal values, professional values. In the organizations, they've got their DNA, they've got their social values as well. And I would say also the cultural values, the country values. And it's how we can develop a critical consciousness of that and be aware of the impact it has.
Then comes the reflexive part of the reflection. There you have to challenge yourself and challenge the way you coach, the way you mentor, challenge your assumptions, prejudice, impacts, considering the consciousness you have. What are the impacts on your client, on the coaching, on the organizations you work with? And from that, you learn. And from these learning outcomes, you can develop your mastery. You can also develop your ethical maturity and enrich your practice. So this is an ongoing process, a very positive ongoing process that you can have every day in your practice. Nicola is going to put in the chat the link that will bring you to EMCC Global website about what EMCC says about the nature of reflective practice as a dynamic inquiry of thinking with a purpose to deliberate on issues and perceptions related with one's personal practice. So you will find the text there and you can download it. Thank you, Nicola.
Yes, and you've got a minute, not to worry. Even 2 if you need. Okay, and as Catherine said, we're here to experiment really, and not really to do only theory. It's more by practice that we learn. And the Kolb model is very good for that, because that's really, we learn by practicing.
Yeah. So let's jump in.
And thank you, Anatoly, because I was speaking and you answered a question. So thank you very much. We've got great help and great support.
Great. So the Kolb's model, David Allen Kolb is an American educational theorist whose interests and publications focus on experiential learning. So this is an experiential learning model. That's very important. You can see on the circle the concrete experience part, the first part, is a very important one. That's the core of it. And David Kolb published his learning styles and this model in 1984. And this is a very well-known model in the educational field, but not only. It broadened to our field for coaching as well. And you have 2 different models with Kolb. You have the 4-stage learning cycle, which we are going to begin with here. And then you have 4 separate learning styles. And that's what we are going to reflect on today. Okay.
Yes.
And the terms reflective cycle or experiential learning cycle are two interchangeably references for the Kolb model. And you wanted to say something, sorry.
No. I was just answering someone who's saying, are you sharing a screen? I don't see any slide. And so I was a bit surprised. So sorry.
Okay. So let's discover what's in it. You want to share?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So the first thing, and we were really talking about this, is how we are experiencing first. So what is it like? What is the context? That's the very beginning of the reflective practice, actually. What is the context? What are the stakeholders? What is happening? What are the facts? Anything really quantitative, time-related, something that we observed, what we think about this, and how we feel as well. It's not only in the head, it's also in the heart. It may be also in the body. What's happening in my body when I am in this situation? And how do I react in that very situation? So it's really anything that is related to the experience.
Yeah. With all our senses. The second part of the cycle is about reflecting. RO, reflective observation, RO. What worked and what did not work there? Why did the situation arrive? Why did your client behave that way? Why did you behave that way? What was the impact of your coaching strategy on your coachee, your coaching, your relationship with the organization? So reflecting in this second part of the model. We invite you maybe to have screenshots, to keep them under, to have them under the hive for the breakouts. Maybe you want to see the first part again. Well, we'll show you again afterwards.
Could you just would you mind just going back to the first one? I'll screenshot it. I'll put on a quick Google Doc.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Nicola.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
That's
Thank you,
okay.
Matt.
Okay. The second one.
And there is a third step.
Yes, of course. Is
Don't
it okay
hang
for
on.
you, Nicola?
Just a moment.
Yeah, of course.
Great.
Oh, okay, you can go to the next one now.
Okay.
So if we move on to the third step, it's about thinking. Now that I am aware of what worked and what didn't work, I can really start thinking, oh, what could I do differently? Or what could I have done differently at the time? And for the next time, what could be different? What could I improve? And maybe I can start building new ways or strategies if I am in this very situation the next time. And maybe also I want to take that opportunity to discuss it, whether it is with some colleagues. I may also want to go in supervision. I may also want to read some books if I have some ideas of other models, other tools that I could use. And what is key is really, what am I learning from this experience?
And the fourth step of the cycle is about acting, active experimentation. From all of the first three steps, if you apply your new knowledge to your practice, what concrete changes will you make to the way you coach? What are you going to stop if necessary? And which theories are you taking back into your practice? And which new strategies are you willing to try out? So that's the first cycle with Kolb, the 4-stage learning cycle. We'll see the other part afterwards, okay? We will first experiment this. To help you, we're going to share examples before going in breakouts. I'm going to share a current example I have with a client. This client, I will call her Karen. Karen is a CEO of a large children's welfare organization with several hundred employees. She was promoted from within the organization and appointed CEO nearly a year ago. She has embarked on a coaching program to work on her leadership in a complex environment and her ability to lead transformation in the organization in good intelligence with all our stakeholders. At this stage, we have carried 3 sessions out of a program of 10. And I've noticed, as her coach, that my client likes theoretical references and conceptual models. These models reassure her and help her to structure her thinking and form opinions. And she therefore focuses on the 3rd step of the model here on AC, abstract conceptualization, and also the CE, concrete experience. She does this movement between AC, between 3 and 1, you see? That surprised me when I observed that, because I had the fantasy that as a social worker, she would be more focused on, yes, concrete experience, of course, but also more on reflective observation, the 2nd step. And I started to coach with my personal bias, with this fantasy in mind. And as soon I realized that the alliance between us would be conditioned, in particular, by my ability to explain, lighten her reality with theoretical models. Once I understood that, I was able to join her, and the work has been very productive from that. After that, she was more open about herself, about reflexivity. She opened her heart a little bit more. And it's as if the axis, abstract conceptualization, concrete experience was a foundation for her that enabled her to explore less familiar, more protected facets of her, like reflective observation, the 2nd step. And sharing this core model with her in the last session I had with her recently brought an interesting learning outcome about the way she works and the areas she goes to less often in the model. So this was very rich to share this with her as well. That's my example for this cycle.
Yes, and if I offer another example, I was coaching a person in a hospital, and as you may know, they've got a lot of pressure and they need to, work, and they hardly have any chance to reflect. So really the coaching sessions were a fantastic opportunity to be in the reflective observation, to step back and think, well, what is working, what is not working, especially considering her integration in the new team was not happening very well. Actually, it was quite difficult, and a lot of people were against her. And she never took the time or the opportunity to reflect on what is working and what is not working. So coaching sessions allowed us to work on that, because she would otherwise never spend time on that. And after that, she could re-inject that. And that's really the active experimentation. She could really do that to transform her experience and start doing new things, and a lot stopping a lot of things that she was doing. And it was very interesting to work on these diagonal, I would say, if you look at the document, moving from reflective observation, of course, learn something, but she wasn't very in the concepts. That wasn't really our way of working, but I could feel how we would move a lot from reflection to experimenting. So that was really the axis on which we worked a lot. And it was very interesting because otherwise, hadn't we done that, she would have been quite dogmatic in the way she was doing her own stuff. She's always been doing the same way and no nuances at all. So working on this axis really offered a great opportunity to step back and open new options, new way of behaving. So I think that was really interesting doing that work together.
Great.
It's how you can reconsider limiting beliefs or any belief.
So what we're going to propose you now is to go in breakouts with, you'll be 2 per breakout. So to have enough time to have an example. So take a concrete example of a situation you have to deal with or you dealt with and go through the model with it, you know, and try also to observe where is your privileged focus and what is the privileged focus of your client or clients if it's a group.
And as a Gestaltist, I'm going to add what is being avoided, because Fritz Perls love to say that, what is avoided here and now.
You could use it in coaching sessions. I did it with my client and it was rich because at that moment, it was correct to use it, but it's not systematic, you know, it depends. But this can be very rich to help your client have reflection models as well for learning.
And it goes back, thank you, Laura, for that question, because it goes back to what Catherine was saying at the beginning. Reflexivity is in action, on action, and for action. So you can use one of these models anywhere, really.
Okay. So let's dive a little bit more in the model. I think it's Tony who spoke about the complexity of the model. So we are going to go in this second level of the model with Kolb. We're moving from the experiential learning cycle now to the Kolb educator role profile, but adapted to coaching. So we're going to present it. So imagine we turn the row a little bit, as you can see, and a flower appears, a kind of flower with 4 petals appears, which is going to bring us new insights about the style, about the posture we have as a mentor. And as for the first part, you are going to reflect on you as a coach in your style. And also, maybe if you have time, think about your clients. What is their focus in their leadership, in their attitude? And this is going to bring new insights. You're going to see that. So, sorry, just close the chat to see more of the model. So we have turned the model a little bit. As you can see the 4 stages: concrete experience, first, second, reflective observation, abstract conceptualization, active experimentation. And here, if we apply the curve part of the model, which is Kolb educator role profile on the right side, and if we apply it to coaching, when you cross stage 1 and stage 2, we have seen concrete experience and reflective observation. You have feel and observe. Okay, you feel, you have the concrete experience of the situation and you observe. Okay, feel and observe. That's something that we can qualify as a coach style, a coach posture. Okay. When you're between the reflective observation stage 2 and abstract conceptualization stage 3, you observe and you think. Observe and think. This is a facilitator posture. Okay, style. The third petal, you're between abstract conceptualization and active experimentation, between stage 3 and 4 of the first part of the model we've seen before. So you think and you do. It's a subject expert style. You are a kind of mentor. We are going to enter more in details in each petal afterwards. Okay, and then when you are on the 4th petal, you're more like an evaluator or counselor. It's near counseling. You do and you feel, and you are between stage 4 and stage 1, again, of the first part of the model we've seen, okay? And you can see that the focus is not the same considering where you are in the model with these petals. The client focus between the coach and the facilitator style. The meaning focus between the facilitator and the subject expert style, which is a kind of mentor style. And the subject and action focus and the experience focus. Okay, let's dive a little bit more in it. That's quite complex, isn't it? But you're going to see it step by step. So here, I'm going to focus more on this so that you can screenshot this with the questions, with the details, okay? What is interesting here is if you take the first petal, the coach style works one-on-one with client to apply, refine their ongoing learning in context, uses feedback mechanisms and development plans. That's a coach style, okay? Coach profile. We are between feeling and observing, if you remember, okay? The second petal, facilitator style. And if you want to...
Yes. So this facilitator style will go inside out. It's really going to learn and to draw out motivation and self-knowledge. So it's really how we can step back, you know, helicopter view, being in a meta, have this learn from that experience and create personal, relational and dialogue. So it's really moving in and out to learn.
Then the third petal, the mentor style or subject expert style. There you systematically analyze and organize subject matter. You deliver knowledge. You share own expertise of the subject. You can understand that this is more nearer to mentoring style than coaching style, because you bring your experience and your expertise. And sometimes in coaching sessions, you can have this style embedded in your practice. The essential point is that you have to be aware of what you're doing and explaining it to your clients. But this can be a part of your style as well. And the fourth one,
yes, that we do have as well sometimes is how we do need to evaluate. It's not judging, but it's evaluation. And it's more what we would say a problem solver style, problem solution. We know it's not the coaching way we should be practicing, but sometimes we also need to go there. So we are more objective, results oriented. We need to set performance objective. And of course we do that when we set the objectives in coaching. And sometimes when we agree on the contract for the session, we need to go there. It's more solution-focused coaching. And sometimes we do have this in coaching. And it's how we can address, you know, where are we at the beginning or at this stage, and where do we want to go? What would we like to achieve within the coaching? So we need to be able to evaluate. So we need to be able, and evaluation, if I remember well, is the 8th criteria in our model.
Yeah.
Yes, it is the 8th. So we need to be able to evaluate what we are doing. It's part of what we need to do.
We have 2 questions for you here. Yes, and Kavita will answer your question afterwards. What is your dominant style as a coach? If you take the same example, but and you can broaden your reflection about you in general, what is your dominant style as a coach in this second part of the model. And what is your client dominant style, if you take the same example? And this can be very interesting to look at that. If I take the example I had previously with Karen, my coaching style as a coach is more focused on coach and facilitator, the two first petals. Feel, observe, and less on mentor style or evaluator, problem solver style. My client is more focused on mentor and problem solving. So the question this brings me are, how can I coach this client best in these conditions? How can I focus sometimes on mentoring moments or counseling moments that will be reassuring for her to bring her afterwards to broaden her own reflection on other parts of the model? That's interesting for me. That was very rich in terms of insights.
Yes, and if I come back to my client, she was very much an evaluator all the time. So we needed to develop really facilitation, coaching. We needed to develop those way of learning with her rather than being only evaluating all the time.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's interesting. Nobody's right or wrong. It's just what is easy for us, what is not easy, and what do we need to develop to grow for ourselves and for our clients, once again.
We have a question here in the chat about, does the EMCC recommend any tools to do the feel part? That's funny. You can find many tools, actually, not specifically EMCC ones, but we spoke about Gestalt, which engage the body and the feeling very much. You also have the ORSC approach, which is a mix between the systemic approach and Arnold Mindel process work tools who engage the body and the feeling very much. But you may have many other models or tools to embark feelings. Other reactions or insights from your experimentation today? What did you learn about yourself? What did you discover of your tendencies, your focuses?
And once again, it's all about being curious, how we remain curious about ourselves and about our clients. It's a journey, and we're all on a journey. We're exploring and we're learning. And actually, I think that's one of the key messages in the Kolb model. It's how we keep on learning all the time through experiences such as this workshop or the sessions with our clients. So how do we learn and keep on learning?
Yeah. Maybe we can, if there are no more other questions, go back to the planning for 2025, yes. Because you're going to discover different approaches. Do not forget that you have recordings on EMCC Global website. And for example, the Karen Prentice and Elaine Patterson 7Cs model is very rich, considering spiritual dimensions, but also feelings. Claire Beckett is very creative in her reflection models, and you will find things as well in her approach. For 2025, Sam McGill with arts and feelings were very present in this session, Anne.
Yes, everywhere.
Yeah.
Look at this Sam McGill's way of reflecting.
Yeah. And for 2025, here with Felicia Lowe, I think we'll have a good
body session.
Yeah.
Related to the body this time.
So you have the time slots indicated there?
Yeah, but we need to check on those. I understand from Nicola that we've got 2 that we may need to move.
Yeah, they'll be very close to those ones though. I've actually put a link in the chat where you can sign up now for Felicia Lau's one too.
Thank you.
So here's the planning that we have for you, and we hope you will come as you came today, and it was really rich to have you all today. Yeah, thank you so much for coming and sharing with us and practicing like this.